welcome to the start of a new vlog. I know it's been a minute. Maybe I'll talk about it, maybe I won't. Honestly, there's not much to talk about. I'm still figuring out the balance between like work and my channel, but then on top of that, I've added a new layer of like being social. Anyways, it's been nice. I've been happy. I'm fine. I'm doing well, but it's just I'm tired. There's not enough rest days in my schedule for me. I'm just waiting for me to adapt so that that's not a problem, and I'm not adapting. I'm just tired. I have decided, in the hopes of getting the ball rolling again, because you guys haven't seen me since a long time, but definitely not since September, because I was planning to do a vlog in September that was just like week in my life or whatever, or just like a regular vlog, which maybe this will be. I don't really know. But I know that for a fact because it was like the week I wanted to do it was the week I was going to the Beyonce concert, and that was in September. It's November. So I'm gonna start doing monthly vlogs. I don't know if I'll do additional vlogs outside of that or how I'll go about that, but I want to do monthly vlogs just so I can really get in the groove, or for a while at least. I'll be doing monthly vlogs to get back into the groove of this, because when I tell you it is November 13th today, I was supposed to start the 1st, I didn't. So you're gonna get half of November, but I just need to get the ball rolling. Let's start off with some things. I went to Barnes & Noble after work. Once again, tried to vlog that experience. Once again, I could not. This is the second trip I've done in like 2 weeks, I wanna say. Maybe more time than 2 weeks, but it's been the most frequent I've gone like all year. And it's because I'm reading now. I haven't really been reading all. I think I just hit 30 books with my last read. Like, just reached it. I thought I was doing so good. I was like, oh, I'm not going to the bookstore as much anymore. I really am just shopping my shelves. Nah, girl, you weren't reading. You just weren't reading. Let's talk about what I got today. First up, the whole reason I went to Barnes & Noble was to get The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. I've already read this. I downloaded it on my Kindle. First of all, I found out it was coming out like 2 days before it came out, the week it came out or something like that. I pre-ordered it on my Kindle the night before it was going to be like come out. That way at midnight it hit my Kindle. And so I just read it on my Kindle. And if you don't know what The Graham Effect is about, In the Deal by Elle Kennedy. By the way, I finished that series. Sorry y'all, you missed it. It was one of the most recent, like I just finished up that series recently. Off-Campus series, that's what it's called. But in the Off-Campus series, the very first book, The Deal, follows Gerrit Graham and Hannah something. I don't remember what Hannah's last name was. Doesn't matter. It follows them as they make a deal to fake date, essentially. This follows Gerrit's daughter, Gigi Graham, of course, as she strikes up a deal of her own with Luke Ryder, who is the co-captain of the men's hockey team. She's a women's hockey player with aspirations of making the national team and going to the Olympics. So she sparks a deal with Luke Ryder, who is the men's hockey co-captain. He's the men's hockey co-captain and is seeking to make a good impression on Gerrit Graham, her dad. And although he got off to a rough start, he's hoping him and Gigi kind of strike a deal to help each other out. He started off on a bad foot with her dad, so he's hoping that she will just boost him up a little bit when speaking with her dad, and he in turn will help her with her game behind the net. I am not a hockey person, so if I said that wrong, I'm sorry, but I think it's behind the net. They have referenced behind the net and her work behind the net so many times, and I need to look up what that means, quite honestly, because I could never visualize it. This is the problem with being like a visual reader, is because I'm reading it and I can picture everything in my head, But every time they would talk about that, I just couldn't picture it. It was like fuzzy. It was like I was seeing static. I was like, I don't know what this means. I was like, are they physically behind the net? Which is what I just assumed, and that's what I started picturing. But I'm like, if I'm wrong, then I'm just wrong. And I completely envisioned that wrong. But that's okay. And why are they behind the net ever? Because isn't it like the goal? I mean, they're on skates. I assume it's probably hard to just stop. Yeah, I gotta look at some hockey clips to understand that. But anyways, he's helping her with her game behind the net, and she is helping boost him and compliment him to her dad. Maybe some romance is sparked along the way. I really like this book, you guys. I think I gave it 4 stars because have I given any of these books 5 stars? I don't quite know, but it was such an easy read. It was such a fast, fun, entertaining read. It brought me right back to, like, honestly, Garrett and Hannah's love story. Like, I don't know, there were some themes, and we got to see them. Like, we got to see them older, and there were just funny moments where I was like, oh my gosh, the characters I love are like older people now. They're like adults with grown children. So to see that their personality is still very much there, even though they're older and have children and have been married for a while, to see that they are still like themselves and still really funny was really great. Yeah, I really like this. Now, of course, I do already have this digitally, and I was totally fine with having it digitally, and that being how I have it. You see this? You see this gold sticker? Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. Includes special content. Apparently there's extra. There's more that was said. There's more chapters or something. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I haven't read this. So the epilogue is extra. I literally bought this for what looks like 3 pages, but that's fine because it can go with the other books. The only other book that I don't have I haven't read any of Briar U, and I still don't know if I'm going to, even though this series that this is a part of will follow the children of the Briar U love stories as well as the off-campus love stories. I'm still debating whether or not I want to read Briar U. The stories mesh a lot though. Like, characters from Briar U series will pop up. And like even in the off-campus series they would pop up. They're popping up now, and apparently their children are going to pop up at some point. So I should read it. But we'll see. I will say reading Elle Kennedy's books, they're so nice and just they're what I need in the moment. Next up, I got Little Girls. This is by Nicholas Afflege. Oh, I'm sorry. And Sarah Delane. It says here, something hunts people on the outskirts of town. Sam and Lilette are 2 new friends living in Ethiopia who are dealing with the kind of problems that all kids have. Judgmental societal cliques, condescending adults, alienation, and a legendary brain-eating monster of folklore. Sure, it's not going to be easy, but all they have to do is live through it. I was really interested in this. I haven't read very many comic books that take place, I mean, technically they don't take place in like America, because I've read some that like take place in the future or something, but it's very much like the Western world. I thought it was just very interesting that this took place in Ethiopia, and that's really what spoke to me, and I'm excited to read this. I also think I was interested in reading this, so I need to make sure it's not on my Amazon wish list, because I have done that multiple times and been like, oh crap. Now I got 2 copies. I also picked up Jessica Knowles' Bright Young Women, which this is a thriller, y'all, or a horror. And I think it's actually a horror, because let me tell you about it. From the mega best-selling author of Luckiest Girls Alive comes a remarkable story inspired by the real-life sorority targeted by America's first celebrity serial killer. Basically, I was gonna kind of done reading synopsis. Y'all know I don't do that very often. But essentially what happens is that in 1978, a sorority president, damn, I said I wasn't going to read the synopsis. Sorority president finds two of her housemates, sorority sisters, murdered. And apparently a few years prior, in Seattle, this takes place in Colorado, but in Seattle, 4 years or so later, another girl was murdered in broad daylight, or kidnapped in broad daylight, something like that. The serial killer traveled, is what I'm assuming. I have no clue what real life events. Oh my God, continued on the back flap. Wow, that's long. So there's a serial killer hunting sorority girls, I think, or women in general. It's like something to have to do with, yeah, sex killer. In the final murderous spree of the man that papers will soon dub the American sex killer, the all-American sex killer. But Pamela doesn't know this yet. So yeah, the all-American sex killer, this is like the story of the women he is hunting, or the women associated with the women he's hunting. I don't know. But look at that cover. It really interests me that one is based on a true story. Two, it's like sorority, and then like 1970, it's a serial killer. I haven't read very many, if any, stories about like a serial killer or that featured a serial killer. I read the Final Girl support group. I read that. Anyways, very excited about this. Very excited about this. Those are my books. I am currently reading Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I haven't even told y'all I read Fourth Wing. I loved it. I think I gave that 4.5. Another story. Honestly, Fourth Wing and The Grand Effect are the books that got me out of, I don't want to necessarily say I was in a slump, because again, I just haven't been reading. So I guess that's a slump of sorts, but it's not like I was actively choosing not to read or that I didn't want to read. It's just I have been really busy. Either way, Fourth Wing and The Grand Effect are the ones that had me like, I don't care if I don't have time. I'm reading these dang books. I'm now reading Iron Flame. I will talk to you guys about that book, and also some of my thoughts and like how much I love Fourth Wing at a later date, because this has gone on longer than I was anticipating, because of course it's me, I be talking, but I am ready to get out of these clothes, get comfortable, and finish Iron Flame, because I'm absolutely going to finish it tonight. So maybe I'll see you guys again tonight when I'm in my pajamas and like even more of a mess than I currently am, or I'll see you tomorrow, or the next day, or the next day, or the next day. Who knows? But I'll see you is the point. It is 1:01 in the morning. Waking up from work is going to be hard. But I just finished Iron Flame. And Rebecca, you did that. You did that. I have cried. I need to take a break so that I wouldn't cry, and then I cried, as it usually goes. I don't know how I'm gonna go to sleep because now I'm like wide awake because I want to read the next book. When is the next book coming? Anyways, more thoughts to come later. But I'm so 5 stars. I think, like, emotions emoted, and that's literally all I need for 5 stars, because like I was so close to being there the entire time reading it. I was like, there's this and that I don't quite love. Bye bye. Rebecca. Why, Rebecca? So much. Bye. As y'all know, I have finished Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I gave it 5 stars. I did give it 5 stars. And here's why. That book had me. I know that some people are saying that it's not as good as the first one. I don't know if it's because I read them semi back to back or what, but they seemed the same to me. Writing wise, everything seemed the same. I think the only difference between the two, really, when it comes to the storytelling of it all, was just that the romance or the plot of the romance was more, it was just more, quite honestly. Before, in Fourth Wing, it was more of like a slow burn romance. Okay. If y'all hear noises, thank you so much. If y'all hear noises, our heater is on because it is freezing outside, okay? And also, I'm in a living room, and I don't know if we're far enough for you not to hear the ice machine. So that is what those noises are. Wow. I feel like the larger difference between the two books was just that the romance was more in the forefront, and I haven't really watched a lot of videos or anything on Instagram that talked about their thoughts on Iron Flame. Besides the folks that have like spoiler predictions, I've been up and through there, okay? So first and foremost, like I said, the romance, or like the plot of the romance, I would say, because they weren't necessarily together. There wasn't necessarily a romance throughout the entire story, but there definitely was more build up happening. Versus like in Fourth Wing, it was kind of like it was definitely more so like a subplot. Now it's part of the main plot a lot more. They were kind of lusting over each other. And then a romance was built after that. This time, before the romance can really dive in, there was forgiveness that needed to happen. And because of that, them as a couple, them as a unit, was more up for discussion. Writing wise, I didn't see much of a difference at all. Like, at all. Again, I don't know if this is because I read the books back to back, and so my hype for them was just as big. I was really excited for me to start reading Fourth Wing, and my momentum from Fourth Wing went directly into reading Iron Flame. Again, I only had one book in between those two, so they were very close together of reading the two, and the excitement I had for Iron Flame stood the entire time. I finished the book really quickly because I was so excited to read it. I feel like I always was on the edge of my seat while reading it. From what I can tell, some people feel like maybe it was just slower paced, but I loved every bit of it. I loved Andarna and the version of her we got in this second book of like being like a adolescent, as Taryn like to point out, or like, wait, was it adolescent or like teenager? She was basically a teenager. Teenage Andarna is my spirit animal. I love her. I love her so much. And we got to see more of the bond between Violet and Taryn as well. I really want to see even more of it. I will say, I feel like that was the one place where I felt like we were lacking. I wanted to see more of Taryn and Violet's relationship, or more of a justification for it, because honestly, in my mind, I felt like there did need to be some type of forgiveness between Violet and Taryn for the events we found out at the end of Fourth Wing. Granted, not his fault, but as a human, I just knew, like, for me, that would still be difficult to come to grasp with, of like, we have this strong bond and you kept this from me. With Taryn, we know that this is his last writer, and whether you have read the book or not doesn't quite, it's not a huge spoiler at all, but we know that Violet would be his last writer. If you're saying that, if you say that the bond that we are going to build and create is so strong, and you hold back something that is so deeply ingrained in trust, we're gonna have to talk about it. We're gonna need to figure this out. Like, granted, we're bonded together for the rest of our now lives, right? And so we're gonna have to talk about how you did something that would hinder my trust, and whether or not I understand why. Your life is tied to my life is tied to your life. I can't just settle with, oh, you had no choice in this, so it's acceptable that I was like, no, me as a person, I'm literally just talking about me as a person, like, no, I'm gonna need for more work to put into our relationship, so that I know, okay, yeah, maybe this is a place or an area where you have no choice in how you do things with me, but I need to be able to trust you in other aspects. And I just don't feel like we've gotten enough in their relationships to feel like that is something that is true. Granted, like, yes, it is true. Taryn cares very deeply about Violet's life and is trying to protect it with all of his life, because it is his life on the line. However, some action behind it would be great. Like, and one thing, he did have actions towards it throughout. I just felt like they needed to have more of a conversation. Like, you had all this anger towards this person who held the truth from you. That person needs to work towards building your trust. But your dragon doesn't, just because he's your dragon. Like, for me personally, I just didn't get it. Like, that was one thing where I was like, I mean, a discussion could be had. I did wish they had more discussions about that, or just more discussions in general, because it's just like, Taryn is a grumpy old man. Not that old from Taryn's perspective, but he's like a grumpy old man persona. And Violet is this young, new writer. Where is the building of their relationship? Like, the dragon writer relationship? And granted, this world is new and we don't really know how it goes about. I feel like that is something I just would want to be delved more into in these books. It's just like, how does the dragon writer bond work? Is it just simply the dragon chose you on whatever day, conscription? I don't know why I want to say it's conscription day, or whatever day, he chose you on that day, and so you guys are bonded forever, and so that's just how you just stick with that blindly, it kind of feels like. Or is there more building to the relationship? I would just really like to see more building of the dragon and writer relationship. I feel like for Andarna to be a teenager and to have been asleep for most of this book, I feel like that relationship, I understand more of like why they're bonded, because they are quite similar, because they are both quite young, and they both don't know what's going on in this aspect of being bonded to a writer. They're both new to this. It makes more sense to me that they are bonded and that their relationship is so strong. Not so much for Taryn, and that I don't really like that. Pacing wise, I actually liked every bit of the pacing. I liked the time in school. I liked seeing the balance between Xaden, like working. I like him. I like the idea of like him working and her still being in school, and how they had to figure that out, and we're still connected in some way through that. I liked how we got to see her in school, her dealing with that transportation thing. I did not like the new characters that were introduced. However, I liked how that storyline progressed timing wise, and I like to see what happened continuing on with the story. I felt like everything got its just amount of us understanding like this was taking time. Also, in times I did feel like it was quite quick, but it made sense to me for the amount of pages that we had. I liked what was covered in the pages and how much time each thing that was covered got. Okay, also another thing that I would love to happen in the series moving forward. I would love a prequel for Violet's mom. I felt this towards I think it was 50% of the way through the book, or maybe even sooner. Yeah, I think it was at the very beginning of the book where Violet had made some type of comment of her mom had made a face that looked like concern, and then Violet had kind of gotten over it and was like, it wasn't that, it was kind of grazed over. But it was literally in that moment where I was like, I want a prequel with her mom. And there was a quote later on in the book that I'm not going to say, but it was a letter from Violet's mom to her dad. I'm not going to say what chapter it was in. It was later in the book. What Violet's mom said to her dad in that letter, that justified it for me. I was like, I don't know why I want a prequel for this woman, but reading that quote, I absolutely knew why. I said, I knew it. I knew there was more to this. It very much gave me Nesta vibes of yeah, she's a bitch. But there's more behind this bitch that we just aren't seeing. And I want to see it. I want to know more about Violet's mom. I am very invested in that woman's story. Yeah. Because also, for a woman that has always seemed to me to actually, she's very tough on her children. I'm not gonna say that that's not true. She's extremely tough on her children in a very unhealthy way, I would say, just because of the impact it's had on her children. But you gotta wonder what brings a person to that. I'm very curious, especially when they talk about how much her mom changed when Violet's brother passed, and how much she changed even more when Violet's dad passed. Of course, it's the man that she loved. The changes that happened when she lost two close people to her, her child and her husband. I was like, okay, y'all are painting this woman to be an unfeeling bitch, but you also are saying that although she was never perfect, it got way worse after these people passed. That means that there was some part of her, somewhere, something that was really holding her on to what little she can hold on to of goodness, or just love and care for others, especially her children, that I want to know. I want to know what happened to this woman, because also she is a woman in a high government position. She's the general, and I'm not that great. But memory wise, I'm not that great, but I could have sworn there was something, or maybe it's just in the subtext of what isn't written. It seems as though she is one of few women in charge, and or the only woman in charge, which means that was hard as fuck. I don't know if you've ever had to be the only or the first to do something, but it's hard as fuck. There's no roadmap. You don't know what's going on. You have to surpass others' expectations of you just so that they can acknowledge your existence, let alone getting credit for the great work that you're doing. So for her to reach this role, I bet that was hard as fuck. And I want to know what it was. Tell me. I need to know. And that was really all of my thoughts, all my non-spoilery thoughts about Iron Flame. I gave it 5 stars. That last part had me actually crying. It was intense. Wow. For once, I didn't get home and it was like pitch black, because we all know daylight savings and stuff. I leave work and it looks like a horror film. Looks like I'm about to get snatched up. But hey y'all, I'm back home from work. So I picked up only for the weekend. I only read like the prologue, or I only read like the first chapter. So I'm on chapter 2 now, 9% in. I think my goal for the night is going to be 15%. I want to work on my digital reading journal. Okay, so hear me out. I had a whole clip earlier this day in which I talked about how I have created my own reading journal, and for some reason, even though it was at a totally different time in the day, it has the same weird film over that clip. And instead of posting both clips, I have just done this single clip and have given you all an overview of the reading journal I've created. I am so proud of it. I will have all the information linked down below if you're interested in purchasing it. But yeah, this is just a really quick overview. I will be posting a video come January 1st in which you guys can actually see me roll through it, a full overview of all the features of this reading journal. And if you decide to purchase it, I hope you enjoy. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. It looks so pretty. I'm so proud of myself. Like, I did that. I made this. I really love this. I'm so proud of myself. It's so pretty. Hey y'all, I'm here because I got some boxes. And one is book related, one is just, it brings me so much joy. The sound I made when I saw this box. So, I got a fun package here. I don't know if y'all can tell what this package is, but when I saw it, I could tell what it was, because I've seen other people unbox theirs. And if you don't know, let me tell you. This is the Beyonce perfume. I don't feel like it needs an explanation. If I really like a celebrity or like a person, I'm going to support them however I can and when they come out with things. And so it looks so good. The box looks so good. So, of course, Beyonce came out with a perfume. Like I said, I love perfumes. I don't know if y'all know that about me, but I really do love perfumes. And as I've gotten older, I've been trying to grow my collection. So this honestly felt like the perfect thing. Oh, it's not giving what it needs to give because of the ring light, but like, oh, she's wiggly. I know. Look, you can see the fog because it's really hot in here. But there we go with that. Hold on. Do I have something to spray this on? Because I don't have a thing. Ooh. Oh, I forgot my glasses are on my head. Oh, I'm going through it. Ooh. Interesting. I would say that this is a very fresh, kind of clean, but still sensual is the word. Like, still somehow like a nighttime perfume. I'm coming out to feel sexy and like, ooh, that smells good. Okay, I don't have anything that smells like that. Back to the bookish stuff. I did get my November Fairy Loot by the Sword. Ooh. And of course, this is my adult Fairy Loot. Ooh. Okay, first of all, seeing black sprayed edges, but I'm also seeing a ribbon. So I'm excited. Okay. Oh, okay. Hey, Cassandra. I'll get to that reaction in a second. We have two handsome men on the cover. And it's called Sword Catcher. Oh, look at those. Pretty. I have not read a Cassandra Clare book before. That was my reaction to seeing that it was Cassandra Clare. And I knew that she had a new book coming out. I didn't know if it was like in the world she's already created. I'll have to look into that to see if I'll be reading this, because I feel like I would want to then read that book or those books, those many books. Go off. I mean, get the bag. But I mean, for me catching up, that's a lot of time. We have her on the back, dust jacket, along with the carriage. And then we have the two dudes again here. Let's see, is there anything under here? Oh, we're getting back to, I don't know how to describe these books, but like books like this. And I'm kind of feeling it. Like, it's simple, but it gets to the point of like, this is that girl. Like, this is a special edition. If you couldn't tell from the sprayed edges and stenciled edges, she's that girl. Like, clearly, she's that girl. Anyways, I need to check and see if this is a part of that world. And honestly, that's not something that reading the dust jacket will help me to know, because I don't know the name of that world. I don't know them. I don't know anything. Was the world called Mortal Instruments? Because otherwise, I don't know. In the vibrant city of Castellane, nobles and criminals have one thing in common: the constant search for wealth. Wow, there's more wealth, power, and the next hedonistic thrill. Ooh, fun! However, that doesn't tell me if this is a part of that series, or like not even a part of that series, because I know it's not. I know it's a separate thing, because those were young adult, I think, to new adult, and this is adult. But even if it's in the same world that she built there, I would need to read those first. I need to look into this more to know how I feel. But she's stunning, she's beautiful, she's that girl. And honestly, that's all we really need. Alright, y'all, so I have finished Only for a Week by Natasha Bishop. If I am looking the same and in the same area and position as I was when I gave the Iron Flame review, no, I'm not. Mind your business. What do you mean? No, I didn't decide not to give reviews to the books as I finished them because I was too lazy to pull out the camera. No, that's not what happened. So I have finished Only for a Week by Natasha Bishop. I gave this one 4 stars. I loved the characters. They were so funny. I loved it all. Janelle and Rome. Hey. Hi. That man right there. I don't know what. Oh my God. He just loved that woman down from the very beginning. Like, before he even knew he loved her, before he even knew of a concept of being in a relationship with her, before he even allowed himself to think of being in a relationship with her, he loved this woman. He said, only for a week, I am going to show you what love is. And oh my God. Ooh. That's a good ass book. And it's not that many pages. It's only 244 pages. It's free on Kindle Unlimited. Read this gosh darn book. I found myself laughing so many times. I found myself smiling so many times. It really was a great palate cleanser after Iron Flame, because I was hyped up and I was like, oh my God, I'm absolutely about to go in a book hangover. I read this book and I was like, oh, this is great. The juxtaposition between the two books was just what I needed personally. Some people might want to continue on with the fantasy thing, and that's cool. That's your right. I needed a cleanse, and it was because no other fantasy was going to do for me what Iron Flame did for me at that time. Okay, it wasn't going to happen. But this right here, this beautiful romance, this quick and sweet to the point, I loved it. Because only for a week, we got this for 1 week. Her sister was trash. There ain't nothing that's going to justify her sister being trash to me. I really wish the worst for that marriage. Oh, speaking of which, Only for the Week, should I tell you? Only for the Week follows Janelle Cross, who is I was going to say the best man. Nope. Who is the maid of honor for her sister's wedding. It is a destination wedding in Tulum. So the bridal party is going like a week earlier to just relax. At least that's what the bride and groom told them they would get to do, except the bride is a terror. So that's not going to be able to happen. Like I said, Janelle's the maid of honor to her sister for her wedding, and her sister is marrying her ex. Now, Janelle doesn't actually care. This is not an ex that she actually felt emotionally involved in, and so it doesn't do her any harm. She doesn't really care that her sister is dating and is marrying her ex, but everybody seems to want her to care, and so it's just a very stressful, emotionally draining environment for her. And her sister is also an ass. It's literally not about even making the details of everything perfect. It's quite genuinely about making everybody else as stressed out, annoyed, and frustrated, and just miserable as she is. Ugh. Like, I couldn't do it. I really could not. So Janelle's a better person than I am, because in so many occasions she let her sister slide. And when I tell you the first thing that happened, I would have been like, one of y'all gonna have to fix this for me. No, this isn't my fault, so somebody's gonna have to fix this situation, because I'll be damned. I will be damned. How many hours is this flight? Too many. Fix this. So, I just don't have the patience for this. And I'm a people pleaser too. I really am. Not me trying to prove to y'all I'm a people pleaser, but I have those tendencies, I would say. I have people pleasing tendencies, and I am working on getting rid of them. So I definitely feel like this is a situation where I'd be like, boundaries in place. Like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going into something knowing I'm going to be miserable. No, no. I'm not in that place in life anymore. I really am not. No. Like, do you hear the word out of my mouth? Do you hear the full sentence that just came out of my mouth? Don't worry, I'll repeat it. No. I'm not doing it. Okay, no. So, again, very stressful environment that Janelle is in. And what better way to relieve some stress than with the fine ass, sexy ass best man, Rome. I forget his name right now. I forget his last name right now. But Rome, insert last name here. And they essentially make a pact or make an arrangement Rome makes an arrangement with Janelle to be her personal stress relieving ball, like her stress relief. Rome makes an agreement with Janelle to be her personal stress relief during the time of this wedding. And Janelle's like, nah, that's too long. When folks start getting here, I'm going to be pulled every which way, and what I just need to focus on that. So how about for this 1 week we have to relax, you be my stress relief? Because again, although they are there to relax, they're not going to relax. She, as the person on the bridal party side, she's not going to get to relax. No. She is dealing with her sister and her sister's bullshit. There's no way that relaxation is ever going to be a part of this equation until Rome enters as her personal stress relief, and he be relieving that stress. Like I said, this man loves her down. Like, before he even admits that he loves her, before he even admits to wanting a relationship with her, before he admits anything, he's just like, this woman is fine, and I want to do everything for her. Like, that's literally it. He's just like, she is fine as fuck, and I just want her. I want her to feel all the greatness that she deserves, because she is a great human being. I think that's the thing. He was just like, she looks like a goddess. I want to worship her. Just describing that 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I think the only thing that brought the rating down for me personally. It's just that I just kept, I don't know. It was just like there was too many instances of her sister being a bitch. Like, bitch, stand up for yourself. Like, if I could hop into these pages, I would stand up for you, but I can't. So I'm gonna need you to stand up for yourself, because also your friends are watching this and they also are like, girl, stand up for yourself, but they're not doing anything. And that's the thing. If I recognize that my friend is being mistreated, yes, there is a period of time where I'm going to be like, girl, you got to handle this your damn self. You're grown now. You got this, big girl. You got this. You a big girl now. Okay. But there's also a certain point that I can't take it anymore. And I don't know if this is a flaw of mine, but if I see my friend being mistreated multiple times and I see my friend's sister try to embarrass her multiple times to my face, in front of my face, like my friend is being yelled at, this is what people think I mean. Like, no. Especially if I know that the truth is that this isn't her fault. All she has done this entire time we've been here is try to help you, try to make things easy on you. Like, I'm not going to try to fight you, but I'm absolutely going to be like, okay, that's enough. I'm going to cuss you out. I'm going to hurt your feelings. I might get kicked out of the bridal party. That's just how it is. I'm completely fine with that. This is when y'all gone too far. I'm going to make you upset. I'm going to hurt your feelings. Like, you have lost your effing mind. And I'm just supposed to sit here and let you talk to my best friend like this, or one of my friends like this? I'm literally talking from the perspective of everybody in that party. I'm not the type of person that's just going to sit back and watch you constantly disrespect somebody. Like, no, we're not doing that. Like, I might let a few times slide, again, for the sake of letting this person stand up for themselves. But no, she was allowed to be in actual terror for way too long. And I think that just hindered my enjoyment just a little bit. Also, the writing wasn't quite 5-star material, but was really, really amazing. I read this book based on the recommendation of Shaughnessy on BookTube. I've been watching a lot of her videos lately, and she had recommended this book in one of the videos, maybe in one of her YouTube, what is YouTube's thing called? Reel shorts, YouTube shorts, maybe in one of those. I don't quite remember. Honestly, I started following her on Instagram first, so maybe it was on an Instagram reel. I don't know. And from what she was saying, I was like, yep, I'm about to finish Iron Flame. This is what I'm going to pick up next. Or I just finished Iron Flame. This is what I'm going to pick up. And it did me well. She had mentioned something of just like the writing of this book was just so quintessentially Black, and I definitely felt that as well, which absolutely heightened my enjoyment of it. But it also is something that can be enjoyed by all readers of all backgrounds, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really hope you do too if you pick up the book based on my recommendation. Tell me about it if you've already read it. Let's talk about it. Let me know down below. I also am currently reading Fine Print by Lauren Asher. If you're wondering why, basically I did a recent trip to the bookstore, and for the millionth time, the book was on my radar and I was going to grab it because there was a new Lauren Asher book. Especially, I almost grabbed that book, and I was like, oh, I wanted to read whatever this series is called for such a long time that I kind of want to read these 3 books first. But then I still didn't buy the book. But I got home. I said, okay, I can get it on Kindle Unlimited. Let me actually read the book before I buy it. I picked up the fine print. I am like 70% of the way through. I should be finishing it really soon, either tonight or tomorrow night. I'll tell you more about my thoughts on that book later, just for the sake of me looking different during reviews. But yeah, I will say that I am excited to get to the next book, Terms and Conditions, because quite honestly, the main female character in that book is a Black girl. And I saw a reel this was on Instagram that I saw it, but I saw a reel from Kimmy's Books on Instagram. I saw a reel from her that was just like me reading a book where a black girl is being loved and like her like gushing about that. Like that was the reel. If I can find the reel, I'll show it here. But like this made me really want to read that, but I can't read the second book in a series, let alone like even if it's a standalone series, I can't read the second book without reading the first. So I read the first, or I'm reading the first. I'm gonna finish it so that I can finally get to this one. Like I want to get to Terms and Conditions. And yeah. So I'm currently reading that. I should be done with it soon, and this vlog will be done soon as well, because it is the end of November. It is the 26th today, which means I'm after Thanksgiving break. I am going back to work tomorrow. But yeah, I will talk to y'all later, and bye for now. Let go negativity. Let go of anxiety. I'm here just to close out the video. I'm sick. It's just I finished reading, what's the first book called? Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I wanted to talk to you guys about my thoughts on that book really quick and then close out this vlog because I am sick, and it's also the end of November, but like I'm sick, and I finished this book days ago, but this is the I finished it while I was sick, and well, at the very top of me being sick, and my voice has been shit. So let's just talk about this book so we can wrap this up, okay? And then I can get to editing and y'all can have a video. I finished The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I gave it 2.5 stars. The book wasn't necessarily bad. It was just okay, which is why I put it directly in the middle of my rating. And yeah, I think for me, the parts that were down in the book were something was going on with the pacing that just seemed very slow. Like there was just a lot of, not necessarily added details, but time just seemed to be very prolonged in this book. But then certain situations like them making up, or when it came to them talking to each other about their history or like the trauma in their history, those instances for some reason seemed quite rushed to me. And I didn't really like that, because it's like, why did we spend all this time that I personally feel wasn't needed if when we finally get to the point of them discussing their traumas, it kind of seems info dumpy because of the pacing sometimes seeming prolonged, and there being situations, oh my god, I sound like, you know when you're sick and you're like, oh my god, I sound like shit, and some people are like, no, you just sound normal, you sound fine. I'm trying to tell myself like that's what's happening, but I don't sound like me, right? Like, anyways, let's just get through this, girl. You got this. Them trauma dumping just seemed very info dumpy, which had me like, if you were going to just info dump their trauma, why couldn't this have been something that was like expressed in like earlier pages? Like the way that they would talk about the trauma or what they've been through prior, or like hint towards it, was just that, like a hint of like, my ex was an asshole, or my mom passed and that was hard on me, and then that's it. Or like, my dad's like, that was kind of it, of just like, okay, clearly this guy's dad was abusive, like emotionally and verbally abusive to him, and her ex is clearly like an asshole, but never deep diving into like the extent of that until it became like info dumpy. And honestly, by the time they got to expressing their traumas to one another, I didn't really care anymore. Also, this book might have been confirmation that I do not like Grumpy Sunshine, which means I'm gonna give Tessa Bailey another shot because I thought that I just didn't like Tessa Bailey's writing, because the only book I read from her was What Happened One Summer, or What It Happened, something like that. That book that they say we're supposed to be like Schitt's Creek. Yeah, that's the only book of hers that I read. I really did not like that book, and so I was just like, oh, I clearly just don't like the way Tessa Bailey writes, and that's just not an author for me. I'm gonna give her another shot because I think I just don't like Grumpy Sunshine. Because I felt the same way about this main character, and we're mainly in Rowan's perspective. Like, it was dual POV, but we were mainly in his perspective, I would say, in this book. And I just didn't like I didn't like him. I didn't like his attitude. It was very annoying. The fact, I don't know why a person needs to be convinced that other people deserve basic human rights, but that was like a part of his storyline of realizing like, you're in control of these people's wages, their healthcare, and everything. Not only is that like something you have control over, but you took their healthcare away, gave them the shitty healthcare, and took their wages away. Like, would not increase them from minimum wage. You had to be convinced that that was a shitty thing to do. Like, you had to be convinced that it was a shitty thing to do to take away people's health care. Not necessarily take it away, but he purposely gave them a shittier plan for their health care because it was cheaper for the company. He's like interviewing people from the company, and he had this huge revelation that taking away people's healthcare or giving people crappier plans on healthcare will impact them and their families drastically. Like, he had to interview people, and they had to, I guess, trauma dump on him that they're taking care of their sick husbands and they have cancer, for him to realize, oh my God, that was a shitty thing to do. No. No. We're not gonna do this. And this whole time in his head, because he was just being a dick just to be a dick. Like, he was the embodiment of misery loves company. Like, he was, or not even that. That's actually not what he was, because he wanted to be alone. But he was like the embodiment of hurt people. That's what he was the embodiment of. Of like, I am hurt. I've gone through trauma. Like, my dad was emotionally and verbally abusive to me when I was younger, and yes, I feel bad for him for that. Like, no child deserves to go through that. But he like just used that to be like, all people are shit and no one deserves anything. What? Like, what? Like, way to just leaps and bounds over things, and then have the nerve to be like, I thought therapy was for crazy people. Oh my God. I feel like that was a direct quote from him, but it may not have been. It might have just been like how he went about things. Like, because Zara had mentioned that she had gone through therapy, and he was like, oh my God, a person like you needed therapy. And I'm like, I would like you to find a person that doesn't need therapy. I think everyone needs therapy. Like, to human is a lot, and sometimes you need help. Like, I'm sorry. I just like, what? He was just really annoying, and to be in his head most of the time was very annoying to me. Cause yeah, he was just brooding the entire time, and this is where he reminds me of the guy from the Tessa Bailey book. Of like, he's just brooding and like the Grinch had more character than y'all. That's the thing. And it was just like, did I just growl, by the way? But he was just like, oh, I don't even know how to describe it. Because I also, sick brain, I don't have a good vocabulary right now. I don't remember things, but he just, if I had met him, like, if I'm thinking of him as like a real life person, I would see him. I would just like I see him in my peripheral, side eye him, and just be like, okay, keep your distance from that guy. Like, his aura is off. I don't want to be near that. Did not like his behavior. I think it has to do with the fact that I don't like Grumpy Sunshine, because in other cases I would have been fine with these like certain behaviors. For example, he was kind of he was assertive of being like, instead of asking Zara on a date, he was like, we're going on a date on this day. In other books, things like that have happened, and I vibed with it. I was like, okay, assertive. We love an assertive dude.
But it was like that for everything. Like, he didn't ask her about anything. Like, it was, like, he didn't ask her to do anything. He just was like, you're doing this. Again, I could see myself vibing with it in other books, being like, okay, like, like, I'm getting treated in the end. I don't care. Like, this is actually kind of fun. I like someone taking control in that way. But from him, it just was like, ew. It just gave me the ick. And I have to think that it's because it's like the Grumpy Sunshine thing. And so she's just this bright, affectionate and just kind person, giving out just kindness to everyone without needing a reason to do so. And he is just an asshole with everyone, and you can't convince him that being an asshole isn't the right way to be. And I'm like, it's fine to want to be by yourself. It's fine to not be outwardly a people person and being more reserved. I'm more of a reserved person in my life, but I'm not mean to people. You can be reserved without being a dick. And I think I don't like Grumpy Sunshine. I really think that that's just it. That being said, I found out, like, literally the day I started the book, through a review or something, that Terms and Conditions is also Grumpy Sunshine, and I have started that book. I'm still excited to read this book. Again, I've already started it. Not looking forward to this. Having this realization that I don't like Grumpy Sunshine, not thrilled to be heading into another book like this. But I will save my thoughts on this book that I'm currently reading, Terms and Condition, for the next vlog, December vlog, because it's December. This vlog is officially over. Like I said, gave Fine Print 2.5. Overall, I did, like, when I take away the parts I didn't like about the book, I like the book. But yeah, there were parts I did really like. There are times when Zara and Ron were together that I thought were just really cute. I did enjoy. There were times that I laughed. I love Zara's sister. I thought she was really funny and great. I did like the ending of the book. The little presentation that he gave, I did like that. I thought that was quite wholesome. Oh, that was the other thing when it came to her, like, towards the end, why she was mad with him. I just felt like it was very prolonged because she made up her own reason and I just was over it. But yeah, I liked the characters in the book, that except for Rowan. I loved Zara's sister. I really did like some moments with Rowan and Zara together. I thought that they were really great. Like when they went in, I would say around Disneyland, around Dreamland, and had their like day exploring the park. I did like that scene. I liked their dates. I thought that was really nice. But yeah, overall, it's like an okay book. And might have been a realization for me on the fact that I just don't like Grumpy Sunshine, which is good to know. I don't know yet if I'm going to just completely X out that trope as something I read, especially as I'm currently reading a Grumpy Sunshine book, but it might be a genre that I don't read, or I just rarely read. I think that's probably going to be more of it, of like I'll just rarely read Grumpy Sunshine, because yeah, so far we're like 2 for 2 of me not fucking with it. This is really surprising to me because I like grumpy guys in books. Like I think of my fantasy books, like I love the dark brooding guy, but I think the difference is the female protagonist usually has some like kick back with him, like they have a banter, and they're usually not afraid to give them a taste of their own medicine. Like, if you're gonna be a dick to me, I'm gonna be a dick to you. I much more prefer that back and forth, because it's a back and forth, versus like a ray of sunshine and a dark cloud that follows her. Those are my thoughts on the book. That is this vlog. I hope y'all enjoyed. Please stay tuned. I have some great things planned. And if you're interested in picking up my digital reading journal, it is down below. I'm going to have something posted in the community tab anyways with the information. But yeah, if you're interested in my reading journal, I will have that link down below. And yeah, I will see y'all next time. Bye, guys.